You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Departing from our usual Star Trek content today, I'm really pleased to bring you my conversation with co-producer of the Orville, Tom Costantino. Now, season 3 is coming out really soon, so we're talking about what's to come, how season 3 made it through the pandemic, and also where Tom sits on the carpet, no carpet debate. Enjoy. All right. So, Tom Costantino, you're a co-producer on the Orville. Thank you very much for joining me on the show today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So, listen, we're going to talk about the Orville season 3, which is coming up on June 2nd on Hulu. And I can tell you right now that probably when this interview goes out, like the title of it is going to be like The Little Season That Could, because it hasn't exactly been sort of easygoing. And we'll talk about a little bit about that later.
Yeah.
But I was hoping that first, can you kind of like bring us up to speed? Because, gosh, when did we last see the Orville on our screens? It must have been 2019.
Yeah, I believe it was like April or May 2019.
Yeah. And so it's been a little while. So would you be able to just sort of bring us up to speed on where we left off and kind of where we're going into heading into the new season?
Oh, you mean in terms of what happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Well, there's a Kelly from the past came back to visit the Orville from 8 years ago, and she, because of her experiences and her memory wipe didn't work, she decided to not continue the timeline by telling Ed that she didn't want to marry him, and then everything went to an apocalyptic hellscape. And that was the episode of that. And then things did sort of, in theory, get back to normal. The timeline was resolved, but everyone got to see what humanity looked like if the butterfly effect, basically. So, and now we are in season 3. We time jumped a little bit because everyone's older, and it's sort of back to normal-ish. We don't expressly say that, but it's for the most part. But it's also things are getting a spiffy upgrade, so sort of changes things.
So more or less, we're continuing on from the end of season 2, but with a little bit of a time gap there too.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So you were talking, when we were chatting back and forth arranging this, you are still hard at work. I'm assuming finishing up parts of season 3. Is there anything, can you talk about what you're working on now, what you've been working on?
We're in the middle of, we're in the middle of mixing and, doing all the fun post-production stuff. Obviously everything's shot, everything's edited. We have one score left, one big scoring session, which people seem to love, and then we have mixing and color and all the fun things that make TV. The visual effects are probably, I don't know, I don't even want to guess the number, but way more than half done. So maybe even 80%. But we're getting to those final stages, and it's after having it for 3 years. People want to make sure it's buttoned up to within an inch of its life, so it'll be worked on until you can't work on it anymore.
Right up until the end. Good.
Yeah, maybe beyond. You never know.
So you mentioned about the gap. There's that sort of 3-year gap, and I kind of wanted to take a minute and sort of jump back, if that's okay, to March of 2020.
Right.
And you guys were in the middle of filming season 3. Tell me about your experience when you had to shut down and sort of the realization hit that was going to be it. Like, talk to me about what was going through your mind. What was the feeling on set like? And
all the rest of planet Earth, we were like, well, I'll be back to work in a couple of weeks. And, some of us were like, I don't think that's how science works. But, we had to sort of, like everyone else, scramble to sort of set up remote infrastructure because, for lack of a better word, we were all caught by surprise. Actually, there's a calendar over there, which is behind that Gelogia painting, which you can't really see, concept art. I have a calendar that ends at March 2020. I sort of keep it here as a souvenir. My office is sort of like a relic of the half no, half new, half old. But yeah, it just time starts like everybody else. Time started to have no meaning, and we were able to work through a good part of the pandemic. And then eventually we just ran out of material to work with because we weren't done shooting. So we got as much in the pipeline as we could. If we shut down for a little bit and then picked up again. But we were fortunate that we were able to sort of like build it on the fly. But yeah, there was a bit of uncertainty, that sort of crept in as the months went on. Are we ever going to finish this? Are we ever all going to go back to work, kind of thing?
Yeah, right. So what was the biggest, I mean, obviously you kind of had to adapt and move things around. What was the biggest difference between like, if things had progressed as normal, if you hadn't had to shut down, what did you have to change between like normal and, that sort of early part of the pandemic where you had to adapt and just try to fill the
Oh,
time with work?
we weren't all in the same room together, and things were patchwork together, and we had to sort of how to lay out what we now take as common practice, like working over Zoom and all that other stuff. Like we had to get used to sort of changing our workflow, to be not all in the same room all the time. And there's probably things that have now crept up on like early episodes that, like, because we were all looking at like remote screens, we're like, oh, that we should probably fix that. Because
Yeah.
it's just there's a certain organic quality to all being together and keeping that energy up, and literally being in front of a when we have figured out the technology of how to do this now, and also we're all back together for the most part. But like, how do you watch high resolution footage? If you're all not in front of that monitor together, how do you? It's like a lot of technicals. It can get really boring, but really the camaraderie and the ability to sort of like not have to set up a meeting to discuss the meeting, because that just kills you. That's the stuff that you don't take into account.
Right. Yeah, that coordination time.
Yeah, and just the organic nature of this, a creative medium, and if you're not all together, you lose a certain kind of energy sometimes. So
Now, one of the other things that was like, so before the pandemic even happened, you guys were already sort of having a big shift by the fact that you were moving off of Fox broadcast
right.
onto Hulu exclusive. So was there already were you already changing how you did things from season to season before the pandemic happened?
Well, our show is not like other shows in the fact that we acted like a streamer before we were a streamer. I mean, we did shoot the episodes somewhat more in order the first two seasons, but then we got into really heavy cross-boarding in season 3, and obviously longer shoot days and longer episode times. But we were sort of there, so that hasn't been too much of a shift. Just the freedom to not have the time clock, and obviously we kind of went bigger. And being able to explore more storylines, like that's different. But we were sort of not your standard, like we happened to be on a network, but we weren't really ever a network show. So the transition off was not as hard as it might have been for other shows. Just sort of shifted the logo and formatting stuff.
Right. So big serious question.
Yeah.
Did you get blindsided by when everybody came back to filming, because it was like an 8-month gap? Did you have like people who didn't like quite fit their costumes, or maybe shaved their heads, or
no.
how did you have to adapt to that?
Seth already made this joke, so I can't get credit for it. There's one, it's a couple episodes, but like Ty and Marcus are like 47 now. No, but it's there's some stuff. No one will notice if you're in the moment and things, but like people age 2 years. Like you change, or your body, your face, it changes. And then like we also went through the hellscape called the pandemic, so no one got uglier or anything. But it's like if you're taking a scene from November 2019 and you're taking a scene from May 2021, you might notice some differences if you're putting them next together. So it was a little bit shocking. I don't think we ever quite got past it.
So, kind of a serious note. So there's two people that I noticed in the trailer who have actually since passed away since you guys
Right.
filmed them. That
Yes.
was Norm Macdonald and Lisa Baines. And
Correct.
I wanted to just ask you, um, did you have to actually adapt what you were doing because of their absences? And was it a deliberate choice to have them both in the trailer, knowing that they were no longer with us?
No, no, I don't think it was. I think, we'll honor them in some way during the season. I don't think it was a deliberate choice. I mean, Lisa's in a couple of pivotal episodes and scenes, and Norm is Norm. Like, we weren't going to shy away from that. He did happen to finish his recordings before uh, his before he passed away. I mean, it wasn't common knowledge. I think this is common knowledge. It wasn't common. He kept his,
It wasn't common at the time.
yeah, and I think he probably, I can't speak for him, but he probably wanted to just sort of like have some normalcy and finish the episodes. And he just, showed up, did his jokes, was always funny. He's mostly ADR.
Hmm.
But there wasn't any conscious effort to eliminate them. Obviously they will be honored when the series comes. So,
Good.
an interesting question. I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah. Switching gears, I kind of want to talk about your role and, in particular, the role of, well, really all the producers and the cast and how they interact with people on social media. Because I
Yeah.
think it's really notable that all of you make an effort to reach out to fans, and you in particular, you really go out of your way to. You're constantly, retweeting and sharing people's fan art, or your sort of online friendship with, I don't know his name, but he goes by General Pedrovsky on Twitter.
Oh,
Is like,
Pedro. Yeah,
yeah, is
he's
like
just the sweetest kid.
legendary.
He's just the sweetest kid.
Yeah, and he
Um,
does these amazing fan edit videos.
yeah. Oh, well, we just got the running joke because I really am. I'm like when he does these, I'm flattered, but also concerned. Like, what are you doing, kid?
Yeah, yeah,
No, he's actually
yeah,
very talented, and there's a lot of there's a lot of fans, and that you know who the super fans are, and
yeah.
I was just a fan guy myself who got lucky and ended up being on a space show. Like, I never thought that all this knowledge I had of Trek and all this other stuff would ever be useful to earn a living. So I feel very blessed. So it's just like giving back, and everyone seems to be very nice. And we have a very nice cast, and we have a very nice crew, and we're just lucky that way. So I think we're appreciative. People can, spend their time elsewhere. If they choose to spend it with us, I think, we owe them something.
Yeah. Um, for you personally, because you're you're extremely generous, I think. It seems like you're always giving a giveaway or something, sharing with people. Why for you personally is it important to connect with fans in the
Well,
online
like I
space?
said, I think I've seen other franchises not connect, and like I said, as growing up for many years as a fan of this genre, I know what it's like to not be able to connect to a production, and it really doesn't. I enjoy it. Everyone's mainly nice. Occasionally you get. I've had a few not great incidents with some people who, it's the internet. So,
Yeah.
and those, they
Yes,
bum you
I've been
out.
there.
And
Yeah.
it's, I don't like when people get personal about things, but if you want to, for lack of better, crap on the show, it's like, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. It's all fair game. But, yeah, no, I enjoy it. I feel very blessed to have, people who are interested. There's a lot of jobs in the world where no one is actually tweeting about it. They just go to their jobs and go home. So, like, the fact that anybody wants to take them even a minute to discuss what I do for a living or where I work, I'm a lucky man. So that's really all it is. It's not that complicated, and I get a laugh out of it. It's like I don't have to like really clear it, except for like some BTS photos. I don't have to clear it with anyone, so it's kind of my own thing.
I assume you mean behind the scenes, not photos of BTS, because that would be a scoop.
No, not
If
photos.
you
I would
were,
probably want to clear those because they have nothing to do with the show. But yes, I do mean behind. I do mean yes,
yeah,
yes. Ideally, if it's something that's on the fence of like, do we want to spoil this? I will check with the boss or others.
yeah.
Well, really, just the boss.
Yeah. So you touched on briefly that you came well, you were a genre fan before. Were you a Star
Yeah.
Trek fan? Are you still a
Yes.
Star Trek fan? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
I mean, as much as one can be a Star Trek fan, and I don't mean because it all looks like work now.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
time I just watch everything and go, oh yeah, I wonder, oh, that was ADR. Oh God, look at all those shots. Oh, I wonder, it's just like
Yeah.
I need to step away. I mean, I do watch stuff, but I'll watch it I'll watch it at high speed. I'll sit down and watch like Picard all the way through, but it's like I need to like I'll watch like favorite episodes. Also, just because I work like a crazy man.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to trap you, by the way. I was just
No,
curious.
it's no, I because I knew what I was saying. I'm just saying is that like it's like you're staring at work.
Yeah,
TV
you're
in
on.
general now for me is kind of ruined, but like at least like some other like things I haven't worked on in a while, like I can come at it with a fresh eye. But mostly it's just like, oh God, I wonder how long it took to render that.
So what do you do to then, if that type of TV is more like work, what do you do to kind of unwind then from that? Do you watch other genres, or do
I do
you
watch
go
other
completely
genres.
off and do
No,
painting
I'll
or
like,
something?
I have like old stuff, we'll rewatch Breaking Bad. I mean, there's some new things about like, I thought The Dropout was particularly good. There's some things I'll just get into if I'm interested in the subject matter and it's like a nice break. But even on those shows, I'm like, oh, that was a great montage they cut. It's like, here I am.
Producer brain.
I'm a real pain in the ass to watch TV with.
Yeah, that's like me in podcasting now,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's been a while, so I
Exactly.
get it.
It's not personal, but it's just like it's hard to snap out of it.
Yeah. All right, so I want to do a couple things. I like to ask a couple like kind of off the wall questions of people
Sure.
when they come on the show. So this one might be difficult. I want to do a little game called Marry, Kiss, or Miss with you really quickly.
Oh no, okay.
Have you
Sure.
heard Marry, Kiss, or Miss before?
No, I don't know Miss. I know Marry, Death, Kill.
Oh yeah. There are
Okay.
there are various variations, but it's
Right.
it's just you'll miss one entirely. And so I tried to throw a little bit of a curveball in there at the end, but I would like to know for you, Marry, Kiss, or Miss. You've got your choice between Captain Mercer, Tala, or Isaac.
Oh, that's
If you want, you can
I
say
love
Isaac
Jessica.
from like the scene with the holodeck. You can say that if you want.
I can't kiss my boss, and so Marry, Kiss, or Miss.
No, it's you. It can be the character if you don't want to make it awkward.
I can't. I guess you got the people behind them.
Yeah.
I'd probably Marry, Kiss, or Miss. Well, I don't never know if Isaac's going to turn, so I'll miss him, even though I like his brain. I guess I would marry Jess and kiss Ed, I think, maybe, because I would love to have Elaine as a protector.
See, I asked you.
Is that
I asked
right?
you the characters, yeah, but you switched to the actors, so now I don't know what to think.
Is that, like, it's hard to separate. Like,
yeah, fair enough. That's fair. Okay. My next quick fire-ish question is: where are you on the carpet/no carpet debate on a starship?
Well, it's funny.
It's a hotly contested issue in the Star Trek community.
Dave Blass and I follow each other on all the socials and stuff, and obviously there's people at the show who work there. So I cannot comment. We have also removed some of our carpets. So I do like the carpets, but I don't think they need to be everywhere.
That is a really excellent way to kind of
I'm not going to say where I think the carpets on the Stargazer Bridge should have been or not been, but I'm also not going to say where they should have been on the Orville. This is like, it's a hot button thing, but I do believe some carpets.
Okay, that's fair.
Things, not everything needs a carpet all the time.
I had to look it up because there's a scene in, I want to say season 2, where the new guy comes on and he's like commenting on how nice the carpet is on the
Yeah,
ship.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
No, no, no,
Love that
no.
part.
And by the way, carpet's really hard to clean.
Well, they have, but it's science fiction. You could make up something for that. You
Yeah,
can.
well, not when you can't. Not when everybody spills coffee on it. Once the camera stops rolling, it's like a
Oh,
whole
okay. No,
thing.
you're you're
No,
talking
but I'm
about it from a
telling you,
producer
but it's the same
perspective.
idea.
Yeah,
You would need a space robot to come through the thing and like clean, like people still spill coffee in the 25th century.
yeah,
The whole
that is
thing.
a problem. Okay. All right. Final quick fire round question.
Yeah,
What is your personal favorite Seth MacFarlane album?
my personal favorite Seth MacFarlane album. God, what's the one with Liz Gillies? The one of the more recent ones. Their duets are really great, and I cannot remember the name, and I'll probably get fired for it. Although he also probably wouldn't fire me for not knowing. But it's the one that I think it came out over the pandemic.
Mhm.
Songs about something. Those songs that's actually in my
I think I know the
Spotify.
one you're talking about, but I also can't remember the name of it
Well,
because I
what's
have a
yours?
terrible memory. That Christmas one. I
Oh
can't remember
yeah.
what it's
Well, I
called.
mean,
It's like Swing for Christmas or
yeah, but it's like you
something
go to
like
the
that.
Grove. It plays in the Grove like
Oh
all.
yeah.
So
That's
no,
that album is what made me fall in love with Mele Kalikimaka. So I
yeah,
will
yeah.
always be happy about it. And it's the
I
first time
mean,
I didn't know that he sang, so it's kind of cool.
really, yeah. I mean, the man has got serious chords.
Pipes. Yeah.
So
Uh, right. Okay. So back to season 3 of the Orville. I
yeah,
know, obviously. Okay. First of all, can you reveal any spoilers?
not and still keep my job.
Okay,
The
that's
spoilers
fair.
is that no, I wish we're super secretive over here. I mean, I think a lot of the storylines that people know and love will be continued.
Yeah.
That I can say, and there's some
Uh,
brand new ones as well. And I'm not
Good.
trying to be cryptic. It's just you know.
Honestly, I fully expected you to say no to that question. I would have been
Yeah,
very
yeah. No,
surprised and
no.
probably
We
fallen out
revealed
of my
more in the
chair if
trailer.
otherwise.
Yeah, we revealed more in the trailer than I ever thought we would. So
Yeah, that's a good chunky trailer too. That's a 2.5 minute trailer. So,
yeah, well, that was on
yeah.
purpose. We've been expanding it like over the last few months just
Mm,
because we felt like everyone waited so long. Let's give them something to remember.
right. So, given that you can't reveal any spoilers, what are you personally most excited for people to see or experience in the upcoming season?
I think the scale. I think there's some really good character work as well. But there's like a lot of surprises that are going to be that I think are going to get people. And I love that you've been with these characters for 20 something episodes now, so there's a it's new IP, so there's a little bit of backstory that you can lean on them to like tell jokes or deal with interpersonal relationship things and like being able to get into those dynamics and all the new bells and whistles we have, like you saw, like we got the shuttle and there's other stuff we haven't put out there yet.
Won't be long though.
Yeah, it
What is
won't be
it?
long.
Less than 2 weeks, I think.
I
Is
know.
it two
Yeah,
weeks? A little more than 2 weeks.
no more than 2 weeks.
Okay, so I'm going to test your knowledge really quick before we go. Do you have a favorite line from the show or something that has stuck with you over the last, 2 aired seasons plus the one that's coming up?
Well, off the record, when we have our challenge at work, we all go, "Welcome to the Orville." I mean, that's our in
Oh,
joke.
yeah.
But no, it's probably really random things like 500 cigarettes. I don't know why. Like,
Yeah.
no, really random. I know a lot of people know a lot of jokes from season one, but yeah, no. Oh, my favorite, actually, I should say, my favorite, because it's just fitting for life, is Penny going, "Here to entertain," which is like that I use all the time. And if you know it, great. If you don't, but there's a lot of great lines, but those are the ones that are just like really specific to me.
Yeah. The one that always gets me every time that I love sharing with people is I can't remember what planet they were on. They were in the shuttle and Gordon's in the front and he makes this speech about how wonderful it is. And he says, it's places that like this that make me realize,
My
God,
family's
I'm trash. My
Yeah.
family's trash.
That's another great one.
It's just so perfectly delivered and it makes me laugh. Every time.
That's when Alara's playing. That is a really
Yes,
is a really good one.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's. I'll wrap it up there, Tom. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited for season 3 of the Orville. It's been a long time coming. It's been a bit of a bumpy road, but we're nearly there. That's nearly there. It's premiering exclusively on Hulu, and it'll be available from June 2nd. And correct me if I'm wrong. It's going to be weekly, right? It's going to be weekly.
It's going to be weekly because we do episodic-ish.
Right.
So
great.
They'll definitely be weekly. They're big episodes, so you get, I was saying they're 60 to 80 plus minutes long. So you're basically getting features or sub features each week. So you get a good appetite each week.
So I knew that they were going to be longer. I remember a couple years ago when you guys were going to make the switch to Hulu, you said that that the episodes would get an extra like 15 minutes or so. Yeah. That's pretty significant, actually.
Yeah.
60 to 80 minutes. That's pretty significant. Okay.
Yeah. We have time to explore stuff. And, there's, we didn't necessarily make choices like, well, how do we cut down this battle? Oh, I guess we're not. Which again, like I said, it turns into a theatrical experience, which is great. Yeah. Because that's where TV's going anyway.
Yeah, it's great. So. Well, I need to make sure that I have like extra time set aside for it then.
Right. Or watch it in 2 parts.
Well, thank you again. Really looking forward to the show. And thanks again for joining me.
Yeah, appreciate it.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.